Have you seen the latest buzz on TikTok? Apparently, people are freaking out about their grocery store produce feeling, well, fake. Like weirdly rubbery and just not quite right. Dr. Bobby Price, a health influencer, hits the nail on the head here. He talks about how the food industry plays a sneaky game. They double down on processed foods, convince us they're healthy with fancy labels, and boom, we're unknowingly harming our bodies. Think about it, that constant headache. Maybe it's not a lack of Excedrin, but your body's screaming for help because of the mystery ingredients you're unknowingly consuming. So yeah, your pantry might be more invasion of the body snatchers than you think. It's not just about mindless calorie counting, although let's be honest, who doesn't love a good snack attack? It's the creepy crawlies hiding in plain sight, those spine-tingling preservatives lurking in your favorite healthy options. Why? Because apparently, big agriculture is more concerned with profits than what ends up on your plate. America, land of opportunity, culinary innovation, and questionable food preservation techniques. Who knew that? While we may be a global leader in many areas, food safety seems to be stuck in the dark ages. Have you ever noticed how a jar of American salsa can seemingly survive a nuclear winter in your fridge? Meanwhile, its Italian cousin starts growing suspicious fuzz after a mere week. Is it haunted by the ghost of bland flavor? Unlikely. The culprit is more likely a sinister secret lurking in those seemingly harmless ingredients. Here's the shocking truth. 160 countries have banned imports of U.S. poultry. That's right. Nations around the world are waving goodbye to American snacks faster than you can say FDA approved. But the question is, why? Food fraud. It's a scary term that can encompass a nightmarish range of practices, from cutting corners with cheap fillers to outright deception about a product's origin, to even putting potentially harmful ingredients on shelves. It's a real concern. Here in America, the vastness of our food system creates a perfect storm for fraud. Dr. Bobby Price, a plant-based nutritionist, highlights how most people view the grocery store as the source of their food, not the culmination of a long journey from farm to plate. This lack of awareness allows for concerning practices to take root, with products traveling vast distances and being exposed to a who's who of chemicals and preservatives designed to extend shelf life, often at the expense of our health. So, what are some of the worst offenders? Let's take a peek into the dark underbelly of American food and unveil 10 of the most concerning examples. First up, U.S. pork. Believe it or not, 160 countries have banned imports of American pork. Next time you're at the grocery store, take a closer look at those glistening pork chops. Do they resemble more of a car bumper than a juicy cut of meat? That might be thanks to growth hormones like ractopamine, which are used to supercharge animal growth. While many countries have banned this hormone due to its potential health risks, the U.S. continues to allow its use, because the effects aren't just limited to the pigs themselves. Studies suggest ractopamine might also rev up your heart rate, leaving you feeling perpetually jittery. So, you need to be extra careful. Next on our list is maraschino cherries. These jewel-toned cocktail staples might seem harmless, but their backstory is a little unsettling. Believe it or not, these candied cherries do start out life as real cherries, but their journey from orchard to ice cream sundae is far from idyllic. Traditionally, maraschino cherries were soaked in a special liqueur made from fermented cherry pits and leaves. While this process sounds intriguing, it's not exactly the all-natural image we might associate with these vibrant red candies. So, we need to avoid them as much as we can. Now, we all know and love Parmesan Reggiano, the undisputed king of cheeses. This culinary monarch, the Elvis of the cheese world, is revered for its unique flavor. But here's a cheesy truth. Many Americans have probably never experienced the real deal. Parmesan cheese grated fresh right before their eyes. What about that pre-grated Parmesan you grab at the supermarket? You'd expect 100% cheese showering your pasta in regal goodness, right? Well, that sprinkle of Parmesan might be more of a cheesy masquerade. Here in the US, with our lax regulations, anything labeled Parmesan can be a free-for-all. Fillers like wood pulp and cheaper cheeses can lurk beneath that seemingly innocent label. Freshly grated Parmesan has a bit of a flaw. It clumps together. So, to make that shelf-stable jar of Parmesan easier to sprinkle, manufacturers often add an intriguing ingredient: cellulose, basically wood pulp. So, your next sprinkle might be less Parmesan fancy and more cheesy sawdust surprise. Now, let's move on to something a little brighter: turmeric, the golden child of the spice world. This wonder ingredient boasts anti-inflammatory properties and adds a vibrant pop to Asian cuisine. It's a health superstar. But lately, some crafty manufacturers take turmeric and play dress-up with its color. They add dyes like mental yellow to create an even brighter hue. This deceptive dazzle can also include mix-ins like cassava, toxic when raw, and lesser cousins like white ginger and wild turmeric. But it gets worse. Some turmeric gets the royal treatment with lead chromate. Lead poisoning could be a spoonful away. Next is surprisingly honey. That sweet, sticky dollop you love might be hiding a dark secret. Filtered honey lining supermarket shelves can be a total fake. This sticky illusion might be faker than a $3 bill. The truth is, a lot of honey is heated up to the point where it loses all its good-for-you antioxidants. Real, raw honey is packed with these health boosters, but crafty honey makers sometimes play a shell game, swapping out the genuine nectar for some mystery goop in order to line their pockets. Shockingly, a third of the honey sold around the globe is tainted or totally bogus. So next time you're shopping, remember, those gleaming jars might just be filled with golden lies. Now, let's talk about everyone's favorite fancy fat, olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil holds a place of honor in kitchens worldwide, prized for its health benefits and delicious flavor. But its high demand and hefty price tag make it a prime target for fraud. Astonishingly, up to a third of the olive oil traded in the US is adulterated or outright fake. Imagine someone swapping your designer label olive oil for a cheap imitation, all while charging you top dollar. Sneaky, right? Distinguishing between the real deal and the counterfeit can be tricky. It's like trying to tell apart identical twins who always wear the same clothes. But don't worry, there are a few ways to separate the good from the bad. First, rely on your senses. Real extra virgin olive oil has a distinct flavor profile. A fruity aroma followed by a peppery kick that tingles your throat. It should also smell fresh, like a walk through a field after a summer rain. Next up, let's get syrupy. Who doesn't love a good drizzle of maple syrup on a stack of fluffy pancakes? But half of what's labeled as maple syrup might be a fake. Food fraudsters are nothing new, but when it comes to our beloved pancake companion, it feels personal. Real maple syrup production goes back centuries, with indigenous people in North America using the sap of maple trees long before it hit store shelves. But some commercial maple syrup gets a not-so-natural boost, corn syrup. And guess what? This filler might not even be listed on the label. Sneaky manufacturers can add up to a certain percentage without disclosing it, leaving you none the wiser. So, how do you get the real deal? Skip the supermarket syrup and head straight to the source. Buying directly from a maple syrup producer is your best bet for getting a high-quality, authentic product. By doing so, you're not just supporting a delicious breakfast tradition, you're upholding the legacy of those dedicated craftspeople who keep it alive. Now, if you are craving a taste of luxury, Kobe beef might be calling your name. This melt-in-your-mouth steak is the undisputed king of the carnivorous world, famed for its exquisite marbling and astronomical price tag. If a restaurant boasts a Kobe steak on their menu, you should expect to pay a pretty penny. Think $200 for a mere 4 ounces. Naturally, this makes Kobe beef a gold mine for savvy restaurateurs. But here's the not-so-delicious truth. There's a good chance that Kobe on the menu might not be Kobe on your plate. Strict regulations surround the production of real Kobe beef. Only 8 restaurants in the entire US are certified to sell the real deal. Why? Because true Kobe comes from a very specific place, Hyogo Prefecture in Japan. It's like buying cheddar cheese that doesn't hail from the idyllic village of Cheddar in England. Not quite the same, is it? Let's move on to something a little less meaty: balsamic vinegar. This tangy staple adds a depth of flavor to countless dishes. But just like with Kobe beef, what you see might not be what you get. Some bottles labeled balsamic vinegar might only contain a whisper of the real stuff, bulked up with cheaper wine vinegar. And to make matters worse, some manufacturers add sneaky ingredients like caramel coloring and thickeners to create a more balsamic-like appearance. So, next time you reach for the balsamic, be sure to read the label carefully. You might be surprised by what you find. Finally, let's talk about juice. We all know the importance of a healthy breakfast, and freshly squeezed orange juice is a classic morning staple. But have you ever noticed how store-bought juice tastes, well, different? The label might proudly proclaim 100% juice, but the truth can be a little juiced up itself. Those vibrant juice boxes lining supermarket shelves often boast enticing words like organic, non-GMO, and no sugar added. But here's the hidden ingredient: fructose. Fruits are seasonal, and juice companies need a way to keep those shelves stocked year-round. The solution? They often use juice concentrate and water, creating a product that's not quite the fresh squeezed experience you might be expecting. So, fake food isn't just about questionable ingredients. It can also mean your food doesn't come from where the label claims. It's a sneaky world out there, but with a little awareness, you can become a more informed and empowered consumer. Are you shocked by the world of food fraud? Let us know in the comments below what surprised you the most. And if you want to keep making healthy decisions about your food, then be sure to smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video.